To be God must rule the earth and transform it. Must rule the earth and transform it.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Dwaine Hartman, and this is the webinar. Today, we're going to go through, on this webinar, manifesting your reality. Imagination, the future self, and raising your vibration. Just 3 points that I think is quite important when it comes to manifesting your reality. Now, the first thing that we want to look at is the imagination and what has happened to the imagination, and why is it that we think the imagination is really nothing. There has been a lot of work done to keep us limited, and one of the major things that has been worked over is your imagination. Your imagination is not something that won't get you anywhere. In fact, your imagination is everything. Everything, in the sense that that's how you start to create reality, is utilizing your imagination. Without that porthole open, you're limited to just a box of reality that has been it has been dictated to you as to what you are, who you are, what you're going to become, what you're going to drive, what you're going to eat, everything. And when you step out of that confine, you need to be able to have an imagination to do that, because you're going to be creating your reality, manifesting your reality, the next step of it. So utilizing and rebirthing your reality is a good thing, or rebirthing your imagination, is a good thing. Because if you don't come back to the basics, which is using your imagination to create for you what you want, then you're locked into a preordained reality. And that's someone else's reality. It's not even yours. So imagination is the first thing that you want to take a look at. If you can imagine yourself in a different place, in a different position, and begin to feel that, then what happens is that you bring yourself to that. It's very simple. It's the key to the Merkaba. When you allow yourself to imagine, when you allow yourself to begin to understand that within you, your reality is really subjective to you and you alone. There really isn't a group reality. There's only a bunch of people who have been convinced of a one reality. I worked and still do as a hypnotherapist, and I've worked for many, many years, and I've always been amazed at the amount of people that come, each one of them having a different reality, but all claiming there's only one reality. But yet I get to see it all the time. I get to see all these multiple different realities that are out there, everyone believing something different, but yet somehow they all think there's only one reality when each one of them's different. We're all different. We all can exist outside of this confine, this box that we have been convinced of. And it is through your imagination that you begin. And what do? What is it? Well, there's left brain thinking, which is analytical, logical thinking, and then there's right brain thinking, which is moving beyond the confines, utilizing your imagination. And we have been very trained to use only the left brain. But if you start to explore your imagination using words like, what if I could? What if I could do this? What if there is something more in the universe that puts things together so that if I have a desire, then that desire goes out and starts to get created. And it can come back to me as experiences. So let me just take a quick show you here. If this is a box, this is freehand, but this is the box, and you're in this box of reality, right? And all you're doing is going in circles in the box, right? Still confined in the box, but feeling that, you have some movement, but it's still inside the box. This truly isn't the full expression of your reality. This is only the reality that somebody has designed for you. Okay? So we have all the different belief systems here that, what people can be. We have, the limitations that are preached to you all the time. We're confined in this box. But what if there was magic and you could step outside the box? So true magic is being able to come out of the box and begin to create your own beliefs. Remove your limitations. Let go and be your true self out here. And a lot of us don't even know what that is, and that's where the imagination comes in. That's when we start to imagine. One of my old teachers, one of the folks that I learned from, Dr. Wayne Dyer, he said, seeing is believing to a point, and then you have to see in order to believe. Or how was it? Seeing is believing to a point, and then you have to believe in order to see. So believing is utilizing the imagination, is stepping out from the confines of what you've told you are and what you can and can't do. So the next aspect of opening up your imagination is then now we get to take a look at you creating a future concept of yourself, or a future concept of your reality, a future concept of how it's going to unfold. So most of us have problems. And we have problems and they sit there in front of us, but we never imagine ourselves beyond the problem. If we started to do that, if we started to imagine what it's like beyond the problem, you'd start living in another aspect of yourself, your unbounded spirit. This unbounded spirit is like 5 years old. It loves to create. It loves being 5. And it can create all kinds of things out there in the world of things. Ideas, concepts. Say you had a problem and you say, what would it feel like if I started to move beyond that problem? How light would I start to feel? How free would I start to feel? And as you start focusing on that aspect, utilizing this future concept of yourself, you find that you move right beyond the block because you're already in it. You can be in this state of freedom faster than you can even think. And then humans stop, and they go, well, it can't be that easy. And so they've put the whole limitations back on because they can't believe it could be that easy. It is that easy. It is that simple. Is to move yourself beyond the problem and spend time there. And as you're spending time there, you're feeling something different inside of you. You're starting to create as an unbounded creative spirit that you are. Now, what limitations could you bring up that you couldn't imagine a solution? When you do that, I want you to know, you're moving from left brain to right brain thinking. And when you move to right brain thinking, you're rather free. This is why so much time has been spent getting you to forget about your imagination and keeping you out of the right brain. Because in the left brain, you can't figure yourself out of anything intuitively, right? So it's a trap. That's the parameters of the box that we looked at there. When you want to step out, you want to go outside of this box and start utilizing your full imagination. You want to start imagining yourself already in the place, in the state that you want to be in. And notice what happens to your emotion. Your vibration starts to lift. And you think, well, it's just imagination. Those are the dirtiest words I've ever heard in my life. Just imagination. Because it shuts people down. And it puts them back in the box, and they march along like they always did. When you stop that, stop saying those words, just imagination, and you understand that this is creation itself, is your imagination. You create your reality utilizing your imagination. So if you want to manifest a different reality, you need to be able to step into that aspect of yourself and understand from the core that you're still the creative being that you always have been, that just came out of source energy. That first birthing of source realizing itself and splitting into two. You're the other one. You always have been, you always will be. If you're convinced that your imagination is nothing, if you're convinced that you're just little, and that you're limited, and all of these things, you will be if you're convinced of it. But if you start to challenge some of these things and just wonder, I always love the wonderment of a child, because in that wonderment, what if, that's where new realities are birthed. They're birthed from that excitement, and they're birthed from that imagination. And as we travel forward in this reality now, what we're going to need to know is how to be a sovereign creator yourself, right? And as you begin to do that, you can walk away from limitations, you can walk away from a limiting world, and create and manifest your own reality, your own world, that you can begin to play in, where the only things that are coming into your reality are things that you want to come into your reality. Remember, you have every right to do this because you're an unbounded spirit and you have the law of free will on your side, which states that you have the free will to create in the fashion that you choose. Okay? So, creating reality, manifesting reality. So now we take a look at the future self. The next step in what we want to look at here is raising your vibration. As you incorporate your imagination again, you start utilizing it, creating a future self that you desire, and start stepping into that. You're going to start raising your vibration. And what is raising your vibration? One aspect of raising your vibration is becoming more and more loving to yourself, more and more loving about yourself, giving yourself a break. If you didn't accomplish this damn thing that you were supposed to do, that everybody wanted you to do, so what? So what? Maybe you didn't want to do that, right? And then you want to do something different. So you start to honor yourself and your own wishes and your own desires, loving self, okay? In this loving self, then you start to move into what do you want to create. We have to take the mask off, because there's much more of you that's been masked than the mask will ever be. So this societal mask that we put on, this societal concept of who we should be in the world of things, is all part of being in the box. And as soon as you take the mask off and you allow yourself to be who you are, and allow yourself to lovingly come out of this entrapment, you'll start to raise your vibration, because you're going to love yourself more. You're going to love who you are. Your ideas are wonderful ideas to you, right? You have to be your supporter, okay? Because when we look outside of ourselves for support in this, we're going to get met with a plethora of different things. Some people will support you, some people won't. You need to stop doing that. You need to stop asking and just say, you know what, it's good enough for me. I love what I do. I love where I am. And start raising your vibration through supporting yourself through this. So raising your vibration has to do with loving yourself. Raising your vibration has a lot to do as well, utilizing your imagination and seeing yourself in higher states. As soon as you see yourself in a higher state, what you would look like, sound like, feel like out there, as soon as you start to do that, there's a funny thing that happens that's natural to all human beings. They start attracting towards that. They attract towards that, and then their body starts to vibrate like the vision you see. Okay? So we can make this really, really complex if you want to. Or you can leave it simple like this. And it is really simple. It doesn't take a lot. All it takes is your engagement in it, to see yourself out there in that future event, already in the vibration that you want to be in. So if you want to be freer, right, see yourself freer. And what happens is as you feel that in your body, it's like things detach from you and you become freer. This is part of our natural evolution that we were supposed to be involved with ourselves, not riddled down with problems and riddled down with all of the problems in life. We're supposed to be able to flip to right brain and create. Even Einstein said, the proper functioning of a genius mind, this proper functioning, is right brain first and the left brain as the slave to the right. The left brain is supposed to structure things, but it's the right brain that's supposed to come up with the solutions. And we've lost this ability. And until we bring it back now, we have lost it. But this is what's been programmed out of the human being, or attempted to program out of the human being. I'm going to say to you, your imagination is the most valuable thing you have. And the more that you utilize your imagination and imagining yourself in a different place, in a different situation, more harmonious, whatever, the more time you spend in that, the more you're going to feel it. The more you're going to feel it, the more you're going to occupy your own thought processes inside of you that is the vibration that's manifesting your next moment. So we move through time, and what we do is we generate a better feeling all the time. It starts to snowball. And when it starts to snowball, the better it gets, the better it gets. Okay? And we move through this wonderful experience of understanding that we have created everything in our life by what we've put attention to and held our awareness to. Okay? So, holding our awareness to something different, feeling freer, feeling lighter, feeling what it would feel like to heal ourselves, what it would feel like to transform anything in our life. We need to understand that when we're giving out this vibration, that we want to give out the vibration from point A to point B. This is the transition that I desire in my reality. I desire going from this, which is a stuck state, over here to a light state, a free state. And when we put that little movie together in our mind, we're actually asking for an experience. And then source energy becomes that experience so we can go through it. So we have this special relationship with source energy. And the special relationship always has been and always will be that source wants to know itself. And the only way for it to know itself is through you. And so what you're doing by creating a new experience like that is actually in alignment with source energy. And source energy becomes the experience so that you can go through it, so that you can send that information back to source energy, so source energy knows what it is. So we have this relationship with source, whether we choose to allow ourselves to remember it or agree with it or not agree with it. Doesn't matter, it's still there. So if you're having a bad experience, that's the focus is on the bad experience. Your vibration in your body is that bad experience, and you are manifesting that bad experience coming to you again by doing that. As soon as you shift vibration, you shift out of that bad experience and you move into what you do want to see, what you want to feel, what you want to experience. So the thing is that we have all the keys right within us once we open up to our imagination and we stop calling it that dirty, dirty word, which is, imagination is nothing, or it's just imagination. It's not. What do you think source is doing? I mean, imagination is everything. Source, birthed from the void, there was nothing. There was no sight, no sound, no nothing. The only thing source could do at that point was turn inward. And it turned inward, and when it did, it split into two. And it was so darn happy that there was somebody else there in the void with it. And it didn't say, you won't do this, and you don't do that, and you don't do this. Source never said that. It says, I'm so happy to see you. Go explore what I am and bring all back to me so that I know what I am. Right? And so the exploration began. So here's source, and here's you. Bottom line. Whether you want to admit it or not, this is source, and this is you. And it came out of source. So there's all in you. All of it. I have a poem for you. In the refracting light of all that is, We give birth daily to ourself through thought and feeling. What we believe we are, we always become. What we hold in our mind about ourselves, we reflect into reality. The image held of self has always been key. Change the image or keep it the same. It all ends that we get to be right. So what to be right about today? There is only ever one true question. Who are you now? I forget about that sound, Yeah. So if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat. I see that the chat's working fine. Everybody's telling me that my mic is off, so that's good. Yes. So if you have any questions, just put them in here in the chat, and then I can go through them with you. So we really have a wonderful ability within ourselves to manifest our own reality. This is who we are. We are that great aspect. We have been convinced, we have been sold to take our awareness outside and say that the outside is reality one, and that our experience is reality two, which is not the truth. The truth is you're creating reality within yourself. You can be convinced to create somebody else's reality, like a salesman come along and selling you on the idea that you're not powerful, or you're not, you can't create your reality, and that this is the reality. Whenever I hear that, I just get, this is the reality. It never flies for me, because I know that you're a creator of your own reality. Yes, we can be convinced that there isn't anything else but the reality that we see outside, and that it's doing this and it's doing that and it's having this. And we can get all wrapped up in the fact that this is happening externally. But if we're not going inside and changing our reality to infiltrate what's going on, you see, then we're not really doing our part. Reality is subjective first. We get convinced that these things are going on outside and that that's the reality, but yet internally we can change it and shift it for ourselves and live in a reality that we want to live in, that we want to experience, right? So So how do we use God consciousness to create? When we step into God, Goddess consciousness, then we have really separated the self from the power that they have over us. Okay, we've taken the mask off. We step into Goddess consciousness, God consciousness, and now we're clear. We're clear to start creating, like I was discussing earlier here. Again, activating your imagination, which makes it easier when you are in God, Goddess consciousness, to activate your imagination and begin to create for yourself. Start small. Start with just wanting to feel happier today, or more magic showing up in your life. And we start creating this future concept of ourselves with, what would it feel like if all of a sudden my life was a little more magical? Where would I feel that in my body? And as I focus on that feeling of life being more magical, what happens is you change the vibration of your body, which is manifesting your reality to begin with. So this is really an inside game. Let's look at it and back engineer it. Let's take a look at what happens when we have fear. When somebody out there says, this is happening, we're going to do this, and this is going to happen, we have fear over that. What did we just do? We turned our vibration into fear, and we just seen that happening out there. We became their creator. So fear creates in a different way. It needs to use you to create it. So you're feeling the feeling of fear. You're having imaginations, future imaginations about what's going to happen, and you're assisting in the creation of that fear-mongering. If you stop and realize, you know what, I'm safe now, if the core of who you are, I'm safe, I feel fine, I'm good, I'm home, and you start bringing all that vibration down to a nice level, then what happens is that you start seeing different things in your future. You start seeing more magic, more joy happening, more whatever happening in your life. And then, like I say, source energy meets you with the experience of that, because you've changed how you see things. You changed how you feel about things. So being able to take a hold when you come into the God, Goddess consciousness, and set aside all the programming and say, no, I'm going to be my authentic self here, this Goddess, God consciousness. And I have the power to do what I want to do. I have also free will to do that. There's only being a creator for yourself and what your lot in life and what you need. Okay? This doesn't work for manipulating another human being. Don't ever do that. You can't reach out and manipulate another being to do your bidding because you're in this energy. No, this is for self. Self alone. And you simply feel where you would like your life to go. And you don't have to, like I talked about in the last webinar, you don't have to argue with anybody about where you want to go. Right? You don't argue with anyone. You just move into creation. So instead of arguing with somebody over something, you say, well, I wonder how quick it would take for me to create that. Instead of arguing with them, right? And then you start moving into this freedom. Megan is writing here again, is there any repercussions if we choose to be evil? Yeah, there is. So you reach out to enslave someone, you get enslaved yourself by your own actions. Everything is self-governed through your own actions. So what your action is towards the world will be what you receive. So there is a repercussion, because if you're creating, again, I don't know, why people wouldn't just stick to creating what they want instead of trying to do something different with it. but creating what you want. As long as you stick to that, you're fine. Megan's asked a question again. How much time should we spend imagining what we want? You'll know exactly how much time it takes, because as you start imagining yourself in that experience of what it is. Now, this is different than the experience. You see, this is different than imagining the red sports car. Okay? You can imagine the red sports car until the cows come home, and nothing's going to happen, because you're not imagining the experience of you going from point A to point B without it to having it. The experience of you being in it. You have to be in it. And when you're in it and you're experiencing that vibration of it, hold that vibration. It's already happening as soon as you hold that vibration. If you can't hold that vibration, you have to check and find out whether that is really what you want. I had somebody ask me one time, they said, describe to me your mansion that you want, and the cars and all of the things that you want. Describe to me what that's like. And I said, I can't. And they go, why? And I says, because that's not what I want. And they go, well, what do you want? And I says, I want a log cabin in the mountains next to a stream. And they go, well, that's limited, isn't it? Aren't you limiting yourself? No, it's what my heart, my desire is. So we have to take a look at, again, what is it that we really, truly want in ourselves? Because it might be different than what other people see as what they want. And that's okay. They can have what they want, and I can have what I want, right? Let's see. Does whatever I imagine, no matter how random it is, does it come true on some sort of level? Well, I'm going to say, Megan, that it's a vibration. There's a vibration that is constantly manifesting, and that vibration is a feeling inside of your body about what life is. If your vibration is that life is, always taking advantage of you, and you're sitting there with that feeling of always being taken advantage of, reality is not going to change much. When you come to a new epiphany, when you see yourself coming to a new epiphany and going, I could be free of this whole thing. This has roots to it back to my past, and I can undo those roots, as far as, going and doing some inner child work or something like that, to undo the roots so that it unhooks from me. Then I can step into a freedom, right? Then that vibration changes in your body, and then you can manifest differently. So I think that answers your question. It's not the random thoughts. It's not the everyday random thoughts as much as it is the vibration that's manifesting. The vibration of what life is to you. So always ask yourself the question, this simple question, when you're creating reality. What is it that I would have to believe in order to receive what I'm getting? What would I have to believe in order to receive what I'm getting? Because it's what you believe is what you're getting. So self-worth comes into this as well. I am worth more than this. I am freer than this. We start saying things like this to ourselves when we're immersed in a reality that we don't like. And remember, reality is like a bubble, right? I did this in one of the seminars with Kelly. I worked with a certain somebody, and she had this reality around her. And I says, what would it be like to just unzip from that reality and step out of it and step into something else? Well, her vibration just went, shot right up, because everything was holding her back from experiencing this higher vibration. I know about vibration, And vibration, in the moment that she went into that higher vibration, she's manifesting something different. Her whole life starts to manifest something different because of this. Now, in this work, I hear ongoing about how people, their lives are just transforming and changing. And I'm not just blowing smoke here. Their life is transforming and changing because they're dealing with the very core things that, in a simple, easy, even humorous way, to free themselves so that they can experience lighter, freer reality, right? Manifesting it differently. Can you choose to stop going out and having experiences and just live inside Source? Yeah, and you can go out from that and actually experience what it's like to be Source in that reality, if you want to. Breathing Source, exhaling Source, and being Source. That's possible. I mean, it's when you come into that consciousness that you are that Source energy, you get to where you look at the world and the events that are happening and things that are happening, you start to see what it really is. You pop out of the hypnosis and that they've been giving you, and you start to see, yeah, I see where everything flows. I see where the money goes and the reason why this is happening. And we can let go of that completely and start living our own reality, where you will start to attract other like-minded people that believe the same things, that you start feeling freer and freer in your life. So living as Source, right? I think that's what you mean, Megan. So someone's asked here, is our time of death determined by yourself since you control your reality? I heard someone say one time that all death is suicide. All death is you take a look at humanity this day and age. They have death insurance, they have life insurance, they have all this, preparing for the time of death. If you're manifesting your own reality, guess what? And you're picturing all of this. You're creating your own death, and you're probably setting the time frame as to when you will pop out of here. I try to share with people something different, which is living from that goddess within, which has never been born or will never die, is eternal. In that eternal aspect of yourself, you realize that this body, or the other 150,000 bodies you've worn over however long, really come and go. But living from that higher consciousness, living from who you truly are, then you're not walking around afraid of death or planning for it or anything else. And, with that attention off of it, who knows, right? Let's see. Stephanie, to open your channel of creating, we need to believe in ourselves. So how to believe in ourselves more and trust ourselves more? One is to get rid of the critic. If you haven't gotten rid of the critic, you need to get rid of the critic. The other thing, is to love yourself. Is to love yourself more than the acceptance of another, or more than the disappointment of another, but to really connect with that young aspect of yourself and connect with him, her, and love them, their ideas, their concepts. this takes away from then, or diminishes this untrust of self. See? So trusting self is being compassionate for self, that your ideas are good, right? Removing the critic is one of the best things you could ever do for that. And also loving who you are, loving your ideas, right? We need to stop doing some behaviors where we check our ideas with other people, because some of us are in a bad habit of that. We're reaching out to other people. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think we're actually saying to ourselves we don't know what we're doing by doing that? And if we come back to ourselves and say, no, I believe that this is the right choice for me, we start doing that, that works wonders. I remember that we have, sometimes we can do certain techniques, like, I mean, we're in a chat room here and I like your chats, but after this is taking a look at to stop asking questions for a week, 1 week. Don't ask any questions to anybody. When we don't ask any questions, we start developing something very special inside of ourselves. We say to ourselves, I desire to know, rather than asking a question. And what will happen is that it will start coming from source energy. It will start coming from the radio, a conversation over there. Your answer will come out. And we start to build this trust for ourselves that we do know the answer. We can say to ourselves, I don't know right now, but I will know, right? But not ask the question to anyone else, and watch what starts to happen. This is a neat little exercise for building that up, where we start to trust ourselves more, right? Mikkel is writing here, what technique you would recommend for removing the mask and the ego? Well, coming into God consciousness. That whole thing that we do with Kelly and I have sessions on that too, is being able to remove that mask and step into the God within. Once you step into the God within, then you have disconnected from the hypnosis that's going on in the world, which says you ought to be this, you ought to be that, you'll only be accepted if you're this or that. That's all a bunch of bunk. You're accepted now. Source energy has never judged you. Source energy is only interested on your experiences and the experiences that you can have, because it wants to know what it is. So it's a lot freer than what we think. So removing the mask is stepping into that God consciousness, your own part of you that's been set aside because of the blinders that they want to put on, right? So these blinders go on, and you can't. You want to be socially acceptable, these sorts of things. We want to be able to take that off and actually come back into our true nature, who we truly are, right? Here's another question. With Kelly, you talked about a meditation where you breathe in, down your spine, then breathe it up and out and up your spine, expanding your wings. Yes, and that's the activation. More so than the breathing is something else that's in there. You're the one that put the God that you are away. You're the one that put that God that you are away. You need to bring it back. So throughout life, we have accepted this and said that this was nothing. Imagination, the God within, all of it, all of our gifts, our abilities, all of that, nothing. This is it. I go to work, I get up, I go to work, I do this, I do that, and I'm a good citizen, and I stay a good citizen. It's always good to be a good person, right? That's okay. But the thing with it is that we have hypnotized ourselves into putting the best parts of us into this box that is the God within you. And when you let go of the mask and you bring this back out, right? There's something that you need to understand is that you did that. And so when you go through the process that we lay out for you, the process, in that process, there's also bringing this aspect back to life, back into you, and experiencing that. Megan was explaining here that she worked with me a week ago and things changed quickly, and not to hesitate in having a session with me. The interesting thing that I want to share with all of you about this is they call me the Source Whisperer for a reason. Because I work with you to bring this out of you. I don't do anything to you except see that aspect of you, and in our conversation and what we're doing, I help you to bring it out of you. You're the one that describes it to me. You're the one that is assisting in the process. I only see you in your highest form and hold that vision powerfully while we're working, and it all happens automatically in the session, and it's this aspect of you starts coming out. So I just want to thank Megan for saying that, and also to remind all of you that the idea, the old concept of doing hypnosis where you're making people do things, I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is helping you remove the hypnosis that's been done to you. That, by letting that go, and you step into your own power. This is something that is freeing for you. Let's see. Hello, Truth Seeker. Yeah, you can change. Megan's asking, can you change physical parts through imagining? Yes. Everything from, I don't even know where to start with this, but because it's your parts, right? Because it's your parts, you could do what you want with those parts. You can increase the vibration. You can increase. I'm not sure what you're talking about exactly, Megan, but yeah, you can heal, shift, increase size, shrink down, all of that because it's your body. And this is the thing that really frustrates me in all that this has gone on, is that we have lost sight that this is our own body. This is our body, damn it. And, I'm 51 years old, and for 51 years I've lived in this body. And I should know it, by now. I should know my own body by now. But if you're sitting here with the blinders on, the last thing that is that you're intelligent enough to know your own body, or know your own psyche, or know your own, right? I mean, who are you to know that? Who are you not to? So if you want to go in and see something, I mean, I don't know how to put this in a proper way, Megan, without, because I have no idea what you're talking about with it, but if you're going to decrease body mass, for instance, and you do a morning meditation where you go into the shower and you allow the water to wash away, and you have a vision of washing away any excess weight, for instance, then what happens is the body starts catching up. You see, you're seeing it and you're feeling it, what it would be like, and to become thinner and lighter. You're seeing it, feeling it, and then what happens is the body has to catch up to the vision that you have of it. Your future self vision of who you are is key. And you can change lots of things inside of you, because whose body is it? Is Source going to suck us back in one day? We're not that far away, really. And not from being sucked back in, but we're not that far away. We are Source energy. It's only perception, levels of what we've allowed ourselves to perceive, that keeps us away from Source itself. We believe we're not it. And in that, we get to live limitation. The closer that we get to stepping into Source energy, the more that we understand that we are it, well, the freer we become, the lighter we become in our experiences, right? Stephanie asked, how can we remove critics? Well, we remove critics. I have sessions for that. So it's an intricate thing that I have to work with the God and Goddess within to be able to do that. And because I don't do it and you don't do it, it's another aspect of you that does do it. And it's part of the process of you getting to know this Goddess within. And so when we remove the critic, what happens is that it's a program that we picked up along the way through living. And babies don't have it, so we weren't born with a critic. But we can remove this critic and release it. And there's a process that I have come up with. It's intricate, but it works with the Goddess within and the God within to help remove the critic. So in practicing bijou, I think it's bijou, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But it says, do we need to practice stepping into God consciousness every day? If so, how long should one practice this? Once you do the activation, it's a simple breathing technique that I then help you anchor into yourself so that you simply breathe in deeply, exhale, and then breathe in and become that energy. You can practice it once a day or twice a day. It doesn't really matter. But the fact is that when you feel yourself slipping back into this, that's when you want to stop, drop, and shift. That's when you want to stop, shift, and breathe this up and come back into your. And it doesn't take long. I know people, and I do it. It's simply just a breath, a deep breath in, slowly exhale, and come back into that with intent. And so it doesn't take long. Let's see. I'm just looking at more questions here. Okay, so it looks like I've covered just about all the questions, and we're at the end of our show right now already. It doesn't take long, does it? It's just like, boom, an hour goes by real quick. Well, thank you, Megan. You're the best too. And yeah, I think I've covered everything. Oh, thank you, Steph. I love living in magic. I love living in the area of magic and seeing magic happen to you. Somebody said to me one time that I'm on a quest for God consciousness. And I am. I have been my whole life. I've been on this quest for God consciousness and to find God. And I have found it in you. Each person that comes to me steps into this real relationship with their own source energy, with their own God within. It's absolutely magical to see what happens to their life. And they're doing it. And they have all the tools to do it. So that's, it's a wonderful thing to watch unfold. And I have one of the best professions in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I just want to make mention before I drift away here is that coming up, a live event. Maya and I will be in Venice, California on March 19th. And so it's a live workshop. She's doing her book signing prior to, if you want to check that out. And also, if you want to connect with this, you're on my website now. If not, below this video is the link to my website. Go to the website and click on the banner there, and it'll take you to where you can get yourself the tickets to see us live in California. So do your best to make it out, because it's going to be a fun experience. I will be doing the work on preparing you and getting you ready for the clearing to happen, and then Maya's going to take you into the quantum worlds. And this is, again, I hope you can make it out to this event, because we have a delightful time at these events. So other than that, I'm going to say thank you for coming out, and if you need anything, just let me know. Just remember, if you come to these webinars, as you have, that you get 10% off. Use the code MAGIC4U at the point of purchase, and you get a 10% discount for coming to the webinar. So, blessings to you, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.